Is Final Fantasy VI worth playing in 2023? Final Fantasy VI is believed to be one of the best in the entire Final Fantasy franchise, and with the release of Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered, it has been given a fresh new coat of paint with updated graphics and sound. But does it hold up to all the hype in 2023? The answer is it depends. And in this video, I'm going to cover why that is the case. Now, up until Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remastered release, I never actually played Final Fantasy VI before, so I never really had an opinion on it. And that was what actually led to the making of this video, because now I do. The first thing you need to know about is the story, which is one of the best Final Fantasy stories I've ever played. The Final Fantasy VI story focuses on a group of rebels fighting against an evil empire who are trying to conquer the world, with the great power they acquired from experimenting on captured summons, or as they're called in this game, espers. The main antagonist of the story is Kefka, and he is truly one of the greatest villains in the Final Fantasy franchise, even rivaling Sephiroth. As a villain, he just manages to hit this sweet spot of a character you love to hate. But where I think the story of this game really shines is with its 14 playable characters, as they keep the story from getting boring through a constant change of perspective, with every new character bringing more information, lore, and identity to the Final Fantasy VI story and world. With deep character development and a narrative that explores themes of love, loss, and redemption, the game's story still holds up after all these years. Final Fantasy VI features a classic turn-based combat, so anyone who's a fan of the older Final Fantasy games or the Octopath Traveler games, combat will feel very familiar. You will be controlling up to 4 characters, with each having a special ability that you will be relying on most of the time, such as Locke's, Steel, or Edgar's tools. As you get further into the game, you will obtain espers, which will allow your characters to learn magic, with each having its own unique set of spells for the equipped character to learn, and is very similar to the materia system in Final Fantasy VII. But it goes deeper than that. On level up, certain espers will grant the equipped character with a bonus, such as boosting your max HP or strength, which really adds a layer of what summons to pair with each character, and makes all espers useful, rather than sticking with the same few summons like in some of the other games in the franchise. Summons have been one of my favorite parts of Final Fantasy, and they were one of the best parts in Final Fantasy VI as well. The gear system is pretty standard, with weapons, armor, and accessories, with heavy armor offering more defense, light armor, more evasion. And relics. These take the place of accessory slots in Final Fantasy VI, and grant special abilities over stat changes, like enhancing your walking speed or giving haste to the equipped character. Beyond combat, you will get to explore the open world, on foot, airship, or with a chocobo, which is a great way to avoid encounters when trying to get to a specific destination. You will also get to participate in many of the in-game scenarios, like protecting certain individuals from mobs of enemies while being split into groups, that you will then get to switch between and place strategically to defend the individual. Or the famous opera scene that is truly unique and very enjoyable. Graphically, even with the Pixel Remastered version and its fresh look, it's still a 29-year-old game, and does look like it, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing, as it's a remake of a classic, and it's important to keep true to the original. But that doesn't mean there isn't any improvements. The characters look sharper, the attack animations look great, and the background effects are very well done. But a few things did bother me, as there are no character portraits to display who's talking, and the screen scrolling at times can be choppy. But these were not game-breaking by any means, but still would have been nice to have it added in like they did for the mobile versions. I don't mind pixel graphics personally, but if there was a game that could heavily benefit from the modern day graphics of a remake, I 100% believe it's Final Fantasy VI. Graphics are what I think will be the biggest deal breaker for most in 2023, especially if the nostalgia isn't going to be a part of your experience. Even with the updated graphics that enhance the game's original style, it is definitely still lacking in standards of 2023. But don't worry, where it may lack in graphics, it really makes up for it with its soundtrack. Final Fantasy VI has an iconic soundtrack that even if you're not a fan of the game, you'll be able to appreciate the music. And a nice touch the game added is the ability to switch between the remastered and the original soundtrack, which is a big part of the experience if you're trying to take that trip down memory lane. But I highly recommend the new music, as they did a great job, and even with the lack of graphics, the music really helps transport the listener into the world of Final Fantasy VI. I think a lot of what I went through so far are mostly pros for the game, so here is what I found to be the cons. The encounter rate. I know random encounters are a part of classic RPGs, but it was like every 2 steps you took, there was a battle, and made me almost not want to explore areas as much because of the amount of time spent in battles. And was really the only con that I found while I was playing the game. The next part may be a spoiler, so if you've never played the game before and don't want to know, just skip over this part. The World of Ruin. The idea that a villain wins completely blew my mind. And getting to explore the world after that happened was awesome. But the reason why I think a lot of people hate it is because the traditional story ends. You've had your final dungeon, your big boss battle, and a grand finale. The story's over, but now you get to explore the world in your own way. And the biggest strength of Final Fantasy VI is its characters, and that remains true even more in the World of Ruin, as the plot's focus shifts away from saving the world from the bad guy and switches to how everyone is surviving in this new broken world. And there's something rewarding about reuniting all the characters and cluing up their story arcs. Plus, an entire game's arc is dedicated to the destruction of the world is one of the coolest things I've experienced in any game. So, in conclusion, should you play Final Fantasy VI in 2023? If you want a classic Final Fantasy experience with a great story, awesome characters, and turn-based combat, or if you just want that nostalgia rush, then definitely play it. But if you prefer more modern-day graphics and combat, especially if you're not a fan of turn-based combat, then it might not be the game for you to pick up. But one thing is for sure, Final Fantasy VI is not just a great game. It's a cultural touchstone that has influenced many other games that came after it, and playing it in 2023 is a way to experience a piece of gaming history. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.